What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I am here at Cypress Lawn in Colma, California, once again, ready to do some cemetery wandering. Today is a nice day. It's getting a little overcast right now, but it is probably in the 70s right now. Fairly warm day for being over here in Colma, even though it is a little gloomy. We're gonna do some cemetery wandering today. We're gonna rock and roll. We're gonna see what we can find. I'm psyched. Let's go. This awesome one tucked away on the hillside is the Rufio family, namely Lewis. I found a Lewis in here. He was born in 1862, died in 1911, and he was a candy manufacturer, and he was a native of Switzerland. And this guy manufactured candy. It's beautiful, beautiful. You see the family last name inscribed on the top of it, which is awesome. And then inside here, on the left top, it's hard to see, but Lewis is on the left top along with other family members. I'm gonna take to find a grave and see if I can find out a little bit more, but definitely cool in here. So on Find a Grave, I had found what looked like was his obituary. It says, August 20th, 1911, Lewis, beloved husband of Elmira Rufio and beloved father of Marcel, and son-in-law of Miss Elizabeth Bellini, and brother-in-law of G. Bellini, and uncle of Paul Kreblet, a native of Switzerland, aged 49 years. Friends and acquaintances are respectfully invited to attend the funeral services tomorrow, Wednesday, August 23rd, 1911, at 2:00 p.m. at the Chapel of Julius Godot, 41 Van Ness Avenue, Tournament, Cypress Lawn Cemetery, private, please omit flowers. So it looked like Van Ness Avenue, the funeral was held in San Francisco, which is right next door pretty much to Colma here. And he's got his family in here. He has Elmira. Where's Elmira? Elmira. She's on the bottom. His wife's on the bottom right here. Father of Marcel, where's Marcel? Marcel's right above his mother on the right. So, yeah. That is what's going on here. Who's on the top here? I think that's his mother-in-law up there on the top. But yeah, definitely a cool thing. There's old flowers here, and then there's on a stool in here, old school stool, there is a flower pot. And right next door to the Rufio family is the Steffens. And I found a Lincoln Joseph, 1866 to 1936. He was a writer, editor, lecturer, political philosopher, and reformer. Steffens, a leader in investigative journalism, was what Theodore Roosevelt referred to as a muckraker, and wrote an expose in 1902 of cricket politics in St. Louis, and went on to write about conditions in many American cities. His most famed work was Shame in the Cities, 1904, highlighting the squalor extant in Americans' urban centers. The book became a sensation. He edited and wrote for McClure's Magazine, 1902 to 1906, American Magazine, 1906, and Everybody's. His autobiography was published in 1931. During the 1930s, Steffens joined other American intellectuals who endorsed the Soviet Union and Communist Party. He contributed significant amounts of money to fostering Nikolai Lenin. Wow, okay, so that's a little bit on Lincoln Joseph Steffens. That's what I could find in the book here, the cemetery book. And I do believe he is inside here on the left, that middle one right here, Joseph he's listed as Joseph, so Joseph must have been his first name, Lincoln must have been his middle name, and he's in here on the left. This is an old school one. Look at the rings on the marble here. This is really old school in here. And it says on Find a Grave that Joseph was also a banker. And what did it say? His estate, which is valued at $200,000, which I'm sure in those days was buco money. It's a lot of money still by today's standards, but back then I'm sure it was buco bucks. Will probably be divided amongst his daughters, Miss Laura of this city, San Francisco, I do believe, and Alice of San Francisco, and Miss J. Hollister of San Joaquino. Okay. And this was it was passages from the Sacramento Union, volume 163, February 1912. So he was a banker, and his estate was valued at $200,000, which, like I said, that's still a lot of money by today's standards, but back then that was, I'm sure, a whole lot more. And it looks like the De La Montoya family area here, I've shown this before in other videos, looks like there's somebody possibly camped out over here. I see a bag. Yeah, someone is actually camped out behind the De La Montoya deal. Here is the Lyons family. We got a Henry Lyons. They said it's on Find a Grave, he's listed as Judge Henry A. Lyons. Obviously this is beautiful in here, but actually wherever it is down below here, underneath this floor panel, there's rings so they can lift it up. So everybody's down below us in this one. It's gorgeous in here. Try to walk around this. Families of Henry A. Lyons and Richard S. Floyd. There's Richard S. Floyd in here as well. I'm gonna have to look up as well. So it looks like he had an established law practice too. He was also an attorney, and he joined California Gold Rush June 1849. He was an unsuccessful candidate for California Senate, 1849. Named Justice, California Supreme Court, December 26, 1849. Named Chief Justice, 1852. He resigned the same year and returned to Louisiana to settle his wife's estate in 1852. And he went to Europe and then came back, returned to Louisiana 1856 to 1860, and remained there till after the Civil War. Returned to California after war and amassed a fortune in San Francisco real estate. He died July 27, 1872. Interred Lone Mountain Cemetery, San Francisco. So he was, I guess, originally there, one of the transplants from San Francisco to Colma, it looks like. Much of Lyons' fortune donated for building Lick Observatory, Mount Hamilton, California. Wow. And some of this was taken from the Louisiana Historical Association Dictionary of Louisiana Biographies. So that was interesting. But he, October 5th, 1809, and died July 27th, 1872. It says he was aged 62 years old, San Francisco, California. And the other name on the placard below Henry is Richard S. Floyd, Captain. He's referred to in Find a Grave. Cremated, originally placed at Laurel Hill Cemetery in San Francisco, and removed to the mausoleum of Henry Augustus Lyons when that cemetery was destroyed. So another San Francisco to Colma transplant when San Francisco was getting rid of cemeteries. He was the president of the Lick Observatory Trust and the board member most responsible for shaping the observatory. He was married to Cora Lyons, daughter of Henry Augustus. They had one child, a daughter they named Henry Augustus Lyons Floyd, born in 1873. Cora died about 4 months after Richard, also of pneumonia. Henry, the wealthy heiress as a young woman, tried to obtain her legacy early but was not able to break the will. Wow. So there's more than one family in here. Yeah, Harry was the daughter. That's crazy. They named the daughter Harry. She lived from 1873 to 1904. And there's a Julia Floyd in here too, another child of the Lyons. The Floyds, excuse me, 1877 to 1877. So there was a baby in here too as well. So there's a few people down underneath here. Interesting, interesting, interesting. I would love to see if this just goes straight down to the ground, or if there's stairs Some people, I've showed this before in the past, and some people said there's probably stairs going down beyond that cover. Would be awesome to find out. It's hilarious. The crows are out in full force today, which is awesome. I can hear them. You hear them? So let's go walk around some more, excuse me, and see what we can find. On this one, it seems to be going a little haywire. The sprinklers are shooting straight up, kind of look like they're going a little haywire, but look at this geyser one over here. Yeah, looks like Houston may have a problem on this one. That's really saturating the ground. That's crazy. Man, what has gotten into these sprinklers today? They're all going haywire over here. Flooding everything, shooting all straight up into the air. Maybe they're supposed to shoot like that, but I don't think I've ever seen them shooting like this before. Because I've walked by here before when sprinklers have been going. This is all crazy. Damn, the crows are out here screaming today, man. They're out in full force. There was a few sitting on these stones over here. There was like 4 or 5 stones in a row, and there were about 4 or 5 crows sitting on the stones, but now they're jumping away on this one over here. There they go. This one right here is awesome. It's got a bust in here. Fleet Strother, 1839 to 1900, an attorney born in Washington, D.C. Strother came to California in 1864. He acquired high standing on the San Francisco Stock Exchange and purchased a coveted seat on the quote-unquote big board, which he maintained for many years. He was 3 times elected to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors and 3 terms as San Francisco auditor. And this is a bust of old Fleet here. Let's see. It says born Washington, D.C., 1836. Died 1836, but the book has 1839 as his born date, which is, well, whatever, it was a mistake. And Elizabeth, born Cantyrone, I think Ireland, 1862, died in San Francisco, California, 1913. And Margaret Wilbert, born County Tyrone, I think Ireland also, 1838, if I'm reading this correctly. Tyrone County, Ireland. Died San Francisco, California, 1902. I saw this across the cemetery. I've seen this one before. It just catches your eye because you see the bust and everything. It's crazy. Of course, right there, Elizabeth was his spouse as well, underneath him. But this is a beautiful stone. Now look at this one. This is the Jones area right here, but look at this tree. Now, I'm sure when he was put here, Winfield Jones, excuse me, was the first name, Winfield. This tree was either not here, or it was probably pretty small at the time. As you can tell, it looks like it's starting to grow over onto the top slab right here. That's the tree coming over, blocking everything. I think I could find a picture on Find a Grave of what this stone looked like before it got covered by the tree. But look at that, it's crazy. It's like growing, starting to grow over the stone here. And it said Winfield was 13th child of Roger Jones, General of the United States. Winfield went west, where he became vice president of the Security Savings Bank in San Francisco. Bank president right here. But look at this. Crazy. This tree, like I said, it was probably a lot smaller when he was put here, I'm sure. That's crazy. There is an interesting stone over here that caught my eye from a distance. Now, this is probably one of the most unique ones I've ever seen. We'll get to this one in a second. I just noticed this right now, but this main stone, Robert Turner. Look at the stone here. This is amazing. Disciple of Abdul Baha. I gotta look this guy up. So it says in his bio on Find a Grave, Robert Turner, Shoghi Effendi, guardian of the Baha'i faith, designated 19 Western Baha'is as disciples of Abdul Baha and heralds one of the covenant, one of whom was Robert Turner, the first American Baha'i and a member of the first Western pilgrimage to Haifa in 1898. Led by his employer, Miss Phoebe Hurst, he was a butler in her household for more than 35 years. He was taught the Baha'i faith by Lua Getzinger. In the process of serving tea, remained a devoted believer his entire life. Wow. And it says file records show that the grave plot of Robert Turner is also a burial place of several other members of his family, including his wife and daughter. Interesting character there. He was a butler, it looked like in the Hearst for the Hearst family, I do believe. And what I'm finding interesting here is, I guess, is this him right here underneath this, or is this just like a... Some of that stuff was pronounced weird, I know, but I wonder, or is this just like some kind of monument? Could be right underneath this. It says, gracious God, what a shining candle was lighted within the black colored lamp. Praise to be to God that this candle ascended from its earthly lamp onto the immortal kingdom to gleam and shine in the assemblage of heaven. Abdul El Baha. That's interesting. Sorry if some of this was pronounced weird, but on Find a Grave, that's how it was, and don't know if I'm pronouncing it all right, but there you go. This guy was a butler for the Hearsts, I guess. This beautiful stone caught my eye from a distance, and I looked and I couldn't find any markings on this stone at all. And I was just like walking around this thing. Rainy is the last name. That's the only thing we can, unless on this front part, I don't think anything ever was there. And I had walked around this entire stone looking for names. And I thought, okay, this thing isn't probably marked or whatever, you know, just the last name only. And then I come over here to the front. I've never seen this before, like just as a name. It's up on the ground, Mary. And then Sam. Looked in the book, couldn't find anything on them. But then I went to Find a Grave. And it said, you know, of course, Mary and Sam were married, no children, and it said, all it said in the bio on Find a Grave for him was connected to the fire department and many charities. So connected to the fire department and many charities. I guess they were, you know, well-to-do, and I guess they helped out. But definitely mysterious here, like what else they did for a living or whatever. But that's Mary and Sam, which is very interesting. I'm loving this stone. No information on the family, but the last name is Gentner, Anna, Lenore, and Ernest Keith. Looks like she was born December 26, 1947 and died of May of 2002, May 11th. And it looks like Ernest, I guess, was born on February 6, 1947, but there's no death date on this one, so I guess Ernest is still living. But what I love about this stone is this dog statue on the top of it. I looked up this family just to see if there was any significance or any meaning, and there wasn't. But It's a dog, you know, with a turtle. Very, very interesting. Wow. There's an inscription on the back. Let me see if I can make this out. Now I must really close my story. Goodbye to the boys and girls who may have read it. And if not, wrong for a dog to say it, I should like to add, God bless you all. If in my feeble way I have been able to impress you with the fact that dogs and many other animals love their masters and mistresses and only live to please them. My little story will not be written in vain. My last words are, boys and girls, be kind to dumb animals, not only because you will lose nothing by it, but because you ought to. For they were placed on the earth by the same kind hand that made us all living creatures. From Beautiful Job, 1893 by Marshall Saunders. So it was like a poem, I guess. It was called From Beautiful Job. And I guess it was written in 1893. It says on the bottom there. Wow. Found this stone here, E.B. Parkell, October 2nd, 1940 to June 21st, 2020. On the bottom, I've crossed over the Rainbow Bridge. That's, don't they usually refer to that when a pet dies? I'm not sure if that applies to humans, but this person applied it to themselves, that's for sure. Tell you what, guys, this is a cemetery. I have spent countless hours inside this cemetery, and I'm still finding new stuff I haven't seen before. Stuff, you know, I didn't know, sections I didn't know existed. I never walked far enough or whatever. And like I said, it's always like a treasure hunt. You always find, you never know what you're gonna find, and you always find some hidden gems and other stuff. And I love this. I love what I'm doing here on this channel. It's rewarding. It's fun. It's an adventure, you know, and all that good stuff. Anyway, guys, we're gonna wrap up this video, so thank you all so much for watching. I'm gonna do some more videos from here. Cemetery's got a lot to cover still, and I don't know if we've even scratched the surface yet. So thank you all. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out, and I'll see you next time.